Christmas starts here at H&L Rapid True Value. Get Christmas ready by shopping the latest in our catalog. The time brought to you by H&L Rapid True Value is...
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the OUR reveals that forced electricity outages have more than doubled in 4 years.
Strike over. Labour Minister says normalcy expected to return at Island's hospitals by 6 p.m. today.
Normalcy will be restored island-wide at all public health facilities no later than 6 p.m. today, Monday, December 9th, 2024.
Soldier arrested in connection with Sunday's armed robbery in Spalding, Clarendon.
The driver involved in crash which claimed the lives of 2 students of Lennon High School has been charged.
In news from the rest of the world, Haiti gang kills over 100 people who are accused of witchcraft.
Several European countries have suspended the processing of asylum applications for Syrians.
In headline sports, Leanna Wainwright will be the first Jamaican in action at the World Short Course Swimming Championships in Budapest starting tomorrow.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the OUR has sharply criticized JPS for a dramatic increase in outages. OUR's Director General Ansel Hewitt will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, what's your reaction to the Spalding gunmen begging for their lives on TikTok? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. You can also message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693 or leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, health facilities in Island-wide are expected to return to normal by 6 p.m. following this morning's sick out. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton will join us.
And at 7, crowds gathered in the center of Syria's capital, Damascus, on Monday to celebrate the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime, bring the family's 50-year rule to a sudden end. You'll hear more. We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, December 9, 2024.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Office of Utilities Regulation, the OUR, has sharply criticized the Jamaica Public Service Company, the JPS, for a dramatic decline in its reliability amid escalating outages. In its 2023-2024 annual report, the OUR revealed that forced outages have more than doubled in 4 years. The regulator also dismissed JPS efforts to attribute its worsening reliability to COVID-19 and adverse weather conditions. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
According to the Office of Utilities Regulation, the Jamaica Public Service Company reported a staggering total of 136,552 outages in 2023. Only 4,326 of those, or just over 3%, were planned. The OUR highlighted a steady and alarming rise in forced outages over 4 years, surging from 49,243 in December 2019 to 132,226 in 2023. That's an increase of nearly 170%. This escalating crisis, the regulator says, has led to frequent and prolonged disruptions in electricity supply across JPS's network, causing significant economic and social fallout. The OUR insists that JPS must implement practical and effective prevention and mitigation strategies to address this issue. JPS said equipment failure and vegetation encroachment were the primary drivers behind the spike in forced outages. While the OUR acknowledges these as typical challenges for an overhead grid, it asserts that the number of forced outages recorded from 2020 to 2023 is unacceptably high. The regulator expressed grave concern over the ineffectiveness of JPS's system reliability program. It also questioned the utility's level of planning and preparedness to withstand, respond to, and recover quickly from potential disruptions, especially during the annual hurricane season. According to the OUR, the outages have severely impaired JPS's performance on reliability indices. The regulator noted that based on the indices, JPS's quality of service performance for 2023 showed an average of 11.8 interruptions per customer. This is an increase of nearly 60% in the average number of supply interruptions experienced by customers compared to 2022. The figure is a reversal of the downward trend seen since 2020. JPS has attributed the decline in reliability largely to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and tropical storms near the island. However, the OUR firmly rejected these explanations. The regulator emphasized that the tropical storms cited by the JPS were classified as relatively weak systems when their effects were felt in Jamaica. Furthermore, the OUR stated that the annual outage data for 2019 to 2023 clearly shows that the dominant causes of system-forced outages, equipment failures, and vegetation encroachment are not directly linked to storm events. Although the OUR acknowledged that the pandemic and storms may have posed challenges to JPS's operations, it stressed that the data proves these were not the primary factors driving the utility's declining reliability. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says normalcy will be returned to health facilities by 6 p.m. today. This follows a meeting involving representatives of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, and officials of the Labour Ministry earlier today. He says another meeting will be held tomorrow between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health to discuss outstanding issues.
Normalcy will be restored island-wide at all public health facilities no later than 6 p.m. today, Monday, December 9th, 2024. There will be a local level meeting at the Ministry of Finance and Public Service tomorrow, Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. to discuss the critical issues in dispute. The parties will return to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for an update and for further conciliation if necessary on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 at 2 p.m.
Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security. President of the JMDA, Dr. Renee Badro, says the association is looking forward to the solutions that the Ministry of Finance will bring forward.
We have a lot of outstanding issues. One of the great response with the Ministry of Finance with regards to our retroactive payment and our overtime payment. We hope that the Ministry of Finance will have good sense tomorrow to resolve the issues in preparation for a meeting with the Ministry of Labour on Wednesday.
Dr. Renee Badro, president of the JMDA. On Monday morning, the island's junior doctors staged a sick-out. This is due to their frustration over several aspects of the new wage arrangements with the government.
Meanwhile, there were noticeable absences of doctors across the island's health authorities today. There was a 16% turnout of doctors in primary care in the Western Regional Health Authority, while 28% were present in the Northeast Regional Health Authority. In the Southern Regional Health Authority, a 36% turnout was reported, while Kingston and St. Andrew recorded an 18% turnout. The turnout for doctors in primary care in St. Thomas was at 66%. Some health care facilities reported that none of their doctors turned up for duty.
Meanwhile, Minister of Finance Favour Williams is accusing the JMDA of attempting to renegotiate aspects of its agreement with the government which have already been settled. In responding to concerns raised by the JMDA over their protracted negotiations under the compensation restructuring, Minister Williams says the doctors are attempting to overturn an already signed contract.
Meaning in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, has assigned contract to the JMDA that was signed on March 16, 2023. And that contract includes a salary and overtime rate for divergent categories of professionals. I have seen documentation at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service that says the ministry has met with the JMDA no fewer than 5 times this year, and it's about the same issue. The JMDA would like a change in how overtime is calculated, but we have a contract that they already signed onto in terms of the calculation of overtime.
President of the JMDA, Dr. Rini Badro, says the matter resides with the Finance Ministry's proposal to pay all doctors equally regardless of their schedules or workload. She says repeated efforts by the JMDA to come to an amicable solution have been marred by procrastination by the Finance Ministry spanning 20 months. It's understood several doctors across the country are now off the job in protest. However, the ministry says that the JMDA has requested what the JMDA has requested would be a bad precedent and untenable. She says the ministry cannot simply tear up the contract midstream.
And the period over which it is valid is April 1, 2023 to March 31, 2025. We are honoring that contract that was duly signed. We cannot tear it up midstream. It will set a bad precedent for everybody else that has a contract in government to come and start to renegotiate. Can you imagine what that would look like?
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service.
In other news now, the actions of university student Matthew Hyde in the torture and captivity of his ex-girlfriend in February 2023 have been described as deliberate and cruel by the prosecutor in his criminal case. Hyde pleaded guilty on September 26 this year to charges of assault occasioning grievous bodily harm, assault occasioning bodily harm, malicious communication, and false imprisonment. In the Supreme Court on Monday, the prosecutor submitted that Hyde's actions to inflict pain were premeditated. Robian Williams was in court.
The allegations stem from an incident in which Hyde held his ex-girlfriend captive in his dorm for 3 days. During this time, he reportedly burned her body with a clothes iron, inflicting injuries to her face, breasts, and buttocks, acts the prosecutor suggested were targeted punishments aimed at the core of a woman's sexuality. The prosecutor stated that Hyde burned the complainant 4 different times. The prosecutor said after the second burning, Hyde allowed the complainant to have a shower. He allegedly told the complainant something to the effect that she should be thanking him for this, and later remarked, quote, "Let me appraise my artwork." These comments, according to the Crown, point to deliberate cruelty and amount to torture. The prosecutor argued that Hyde had multiple opportunities to stop his actions, but chose to continue burning the complainant. The prosecutor pointed to the psychological and physical toll on the complainant, which was outlined in a victim impact statement. The statement revealed the complainant's suffering during and after the ordeal. Quote, "Upon my rescue, I was in complete and utter distress. I thought I was going to be killed. I gave up on survival. I blankly stared at walls for days, unable to express myself. I turned away from every mirror, sick of seeing myself. I am tired, scared, and lonely." End quote. The prosecutor emphasized that the injuries have left the complainant with keloid scars, hyperpigmentation, and ongoing psychological trauma. She has been referred for STEM therapy treatments costing $90,000 each, with 3 treatments recommended. In a previous court hearing, Hyde's attorney Patrick Peterkin highlighted mitigating factors, including Hyde's PTSD from childhood trauma and borderline personality disorder. He also noted Hyde's lack of prior convictions. On Monday, Mr. Peterkin informed the court that his client has paid $2 million in restitution to the complainant to assist with medical expenses. Peterkin argued that the restitution showed Hyde's remorse and urged Justice Carolyn Ty Powell to consider this during sentencing. However, the prosecution countered that the sum was less than half of what the complainant had requested, emphasizing that the psychological and financial toll far exceeded the $2 million. The prosecution described the case as egregious, urging the court to consider the premeditation, targeted injuries, and the lasting impact on the complainant. Justice Ty Powell is set to weigh the aggravating and mitigating factors before delivering her sentencing on December 17 at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, the complainant has filed a civil suit seeking further compensation for the abuse and mental trauma she endured during the 3 days of captivity and torture. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Continuing the news, there's a new twist in relation to Sunday's armed robbery in Spalding, Clarendon. Nationwide News understands that a member of the Jamaica Defence Force has been arrested in connection with the incident. Well-placed sources in the JDF confirmed the arrest. They say he's the brother of one of the 4 men taken into custody. However, they are withholding the soldier's rank and name pending the laying of formal charges by the police. Nationwide News sources indicate that he's likely to be hit with conspiracy charges. Reports are that the soldier turned up at the supermarket where the 4 gunmen had barricaded themselves after the arrival of the police. He claimed to be a relative of one of the men and begged for them not to be killed. In the TikTok live they shared during the incident, one of the accused men was heard saying he had brothers who are soldiers and policemen.
Nobody. Please, I live with the fun. Please, I live with the fun. Please, officer, do your beginning. Please, do. See, and do. Please, officer. Please, officer. Please, do. Please. No, please. Father God. No, officer, we're not going, officer, man. We're not going, officer. I'm better with a soldier and police, officer. Please, we're good. Accept it for the college. Why is it? Officer, please. I'm married to me. Officer, please. Officer, we are no fools.
Armed men in Clarendon standoff.
Now, the driver involved in last week's fatal crash, which claimed the lives of 2 students of Lennon High School, has been charged, or rather he's been slapped with multiple charges. He's Kemar Wint. Wint has been charged with 2 counts of causing death by dangerous driving, operating without a PPV road license, operating without motor vehicle insurance, and failing to obey a command from the police. He's due to appear in court on Wednesday, December 11. The 2 students, Jodian Lodge and Richard Tuller, were passengers aboard a Subaru motorcar reportedly driven by Wint. The police say the vehicle was being operated as an illegal taxi when it collided with a Probox motorcar on the Bustamante Highway. Several students and the driver of the Probox were injured in the crash. They remain in hospital. Wint reportedly fled the scene. He was nabbed at the Norman Manley International Airport shortly after the crash. The police say he was attempting to flee the island.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. Gangs in Haiti killed more than 180 mostly elderly people on the weekend after accusing them of witchcraft. The killings happened in Cité Soleil, a sprawling slum by the sea in the capital of Port-au-Prince. The National Human Rights Defense Network says a local gang leader targeted them after his son fell ill and died. The gang leader reportedly consulted a voodoo priest who blamed elderly locals practicing witchcraft for the boy's mystery illness. Gang members reportedly seized residents aged 60 and over from their homes, rounded them up, then shot or stabbed them to death. Residents reported seeing mutilated bodies being burned in the streets. Some younger people who had tried to protect the elderly were also killed. The UN said the number of people killed in gang violence in Haiti so far this year has reached 5,000.
A number of European countries, including the UK, have suspended the processing of asylum applications from Syrians. This follows the ousting of former President Bashar al-Assad, whose regime led with an iron fist for 50 years. Germany, the United Kingdom, France, and Greece have all said they will halt asylum decisions for now. Germany has approximately 1 million Syrians, some 47,000 of whom are waiting for an answer to their asylum applications. The government says those who have already been granted asylum are not affected. In Austria, the caretaker government has stopped all asylum claims from Syrians. The government says it's making plans to repatriate or deport people to their homeland, arguing that the situation in the country has changed fundamentally. Approximately 95,000 Syrians live in Austria, many of whom arrived during the migrant crisis of 2015 and 2016.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the OUR reveals that forced electricity outages have more than doubled in 4 years.
Strike over. Labour Minister says normalcy expected to return at Islands hospitals by 6 p.m. today.
Soldier arrested in connection with Sunday's armed robbery in Spalding, Clarendon. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com. and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6. I mean, maybe I could have been Robian.
Yeah.
For today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The most spectacular year-end sale is back at IQ Optical. Get up to 75% on optical frames and sunglasses in December. Conditions apply.
Make meal prep a breeze with the latest kitchen appliances from Active Home Center. Enjoy shopping for your favorite brands in a warm and welcoming atmosphere in our updated kitchen and appliances showroom. Find great deals on top brands like Thor, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, and Samsung. Beat the holiday rush and visit our Kingston location at 84 Constance Spring Road. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I am Alex Raby. We start by diving into the pool as Jamaica's 4-member team of Leanna Wainwright, Cedriel Williams, Nathaniel Thomas, and Jessica Calderbank are in Budapest for the 6-day World Short Course Swimming Championships starting on Tuesday. Wainwright will be the first Jamaican in action. She will swim from lane 2 in heat 2 of the women's 100 meters backstroke tomorrow morning at 3:36. She will be trying to go for after the 15 to 17 age group record of 1 minute 03.44 seconds. Williams will go next in the men's 50 meter butterfly. Williams will swim from lane 1 in heat 4. He will be looking to go faster than the 24.67 seconds he posted in 2021. The swimmers will also be looking to see how they rank in the Caribbean at these championships. Now to cricket, as West Indies batsman Shafeen Rutherford says the team will use today to rest and recover ahead of the second one-day international against Bangladesh on Tuesday. The Windies lead the 3-match series 1-0 following yesterday's 5-wicket win. Rutherford says they hope they'll be able to repeat their good form.
Basically recovery. We will have a meeting the day before the game and just try to come and repeat what we have done today.
Shafrin Rutherford. Now in football at Sports Time, Mount Pleasant and Humble Lion were locked at 0-0 in the first match of a double-header in the Ray and Neville Jamaica Premier League at the Anthony Spalding Complex. Meanwhile, the second match will feature Arnett Gardens against Harbourview starting at 7:45. Friends of For Real went unbeaten to claim the championship title in the Pocket Rocket Foundation six-a-side football competition at the Red Stripe Sports Complex on Sunday. The first-time entrants beat Medley Mixers 1-0 in the final. The day also featured an exciting third-place playoff where Legends secured a 2-1 victory over Legacy. The championship match capped off a successful tournament that saw 20 teams compete in 36 matches, highlighting the best of community football and sportsmanship. This year's competition, the largest in its history, awarded cash prizes of $300,000, $200,000 and $100,000 to the first, second and third place teams respectively. Over $500,000 in prizes were presented for individual awards, including top goal scorer, best defender, and most valuable player. The tournament, Peace Through Sports Initiative, has strengthened bonds within the Waterhouse and the surrounding communities, supported by the Hunts Bay Police. Shelley Fraser Price, founder and the chairwoman of the Pocket Rocket Foundation, praised the tournament's success and impact.
I'm hoping that from this competition, they'll be able to branch out and who knows, join a Premier League team, a Division 1 or League 1 team. But I'm hoping that they'll be exposed and they'll want to continue to work on their skills.
Shelley Fraser Price. Now, English Premier League official David Coote has been sacked by referees body, the Professional Game Match Official Limited, PGMOL, following a thorough investigation into his conduct. Coote was suspended by the PGMOL on November 11, pending a full investigation after a video allegedly showing him making derogatory comments about Liverpool and the club's former manager, Jurgen Klopp, was circulated on social media. A further investigation was opened 2 days later after the Sun published photos it says were taken during this summer's European Championships, alleging that they appear to show Coote sniffing a white powder through a rolled-up US bank note. The PGMOL said Coote's action made his position untenable. Coote has the right to appeal the decision to terminate his employment. Jamaican licensed clinical and sports psychologist and the founder and the CEO of Elite Sports Psychology, Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton, has made history as the first Jamaican to receive a diploma in the treatment of mental health and elite athletes from the International Olympic Committee. In a graduation ceremony held at the IOC headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland on October 28, Dr. Hamilton proudly stood among his peers, comprising 42% of successful program completers. He now joins the ranks of 66 graduates from 36 countries since the program's inception in 2021.
It was difficult. Put it this way, it's the hardest program. I would even say it was harder than my PhD. It was very hard. It's not an easy thing. You can do it. You just buckle down. You can't take it as a joke. You have to do the reading. You have to be prepared, and you have to do well on the exams. The exams were very hard. But I tell you something, you get a greater appreciation for the mental health of elite athletes and how to treat them.
Dr. Hamilton says he's now receiving requests from sporting teams from around the world.
It helps my practice, and I'm also now in the IOC family. So I primarily work with Jamaica and help Jamaica national teams. So being a part of the sports medical team for the Commonwealth Games, for the Olympics, for the FIFA Copa Nations League. But what this diploma affords me is I'm being requested by many different countries now.
Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton. I'm Alric Swaby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:29.
I don't have no time for whole heap of paperwork. That's why I downloaded and signed up for my OneJN Passport app. Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The temperature by the OneJN Passport app is
30 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 28 in Montego Bay.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beaniman. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media. If it's important to you,
it's important to us.
Let Nationwide 90 FM be your first choice for your live broadcast.
We'll drive traffic to your company, increase your publicity, and work with your budget.
Reach your target audience with high-quality audio both on air and online.
Nationwide 90 FM should be the driving force to execute your live broadcast.
Contact our sales team today at 630-1210 or 630-1216.
Nationwide 90 FM live broadcasts covering your events and reaching your target audience.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Good afternoon. It's 5:35, and this is Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good afternoon to our listeners. Good afternoon to you if you're listening on radio. Hello to you if you're joining us on YouTube. And hello to you if you're joining us on the other online platforms. Just to remind you, we're streaming at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So you can go on and tune in.
Well, in our cover story this afternoon, the Office of Utilities Regulations, the OUR, is sharply criticizing the Light and Power Company, JPS, that's the Jamaica Public Service Company, for a dramatic decline in its reliability amid escalating outages. In its 2023-24 annual report, the OUR revealed that forced outages have more than doubled in 4 years. According to the OUR, the JPS reported a staggering total of 136,552 outages in the year 2023.
And listeners, only 4,326 of those, or just over 3%, were planned. The OUR highlighted a steady and alarming rise in forced outages over 4 years, surging from 49,243 in December 2019 to 132,226 in 2023. That's an increase of nearly 170%.
What's happening? According to the OUR, the escalating crisis has led to frequent and prolonged disruptions in electricity supply across JPS's network, causing significant economic and social fallout. The OUR insists that JPS must implement practical and effective prevention and mitigation strategies to address the issue.
The regulator expressed grave concern over the ineffectiveness of JPS's system reliability program. The OUR also questioned the utility's level of planning and preparedness to withstand, respond to, and recover quickly from potential disruptions, especially during the annual hurricane season. And of course, we would have seen that in July, August this year. JPS has attributed the decline in reliability largely to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and tropical storms near the island. The OUR is firmly rejecting those explanations.
The regulator emphasized that the tropical storms cited by JPS were classified as relatively weak systems when their effects were felt in Jamaica. The OUR's Director General is Ansord Hewitt. He joins us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Hewitt.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hughes. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. How are you both?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I'm not doing very well. I'm distressed by this piece of reporting from our news center, having received a copy of your annual report. Is this level of reliability unprecedented or what? Or is it within the norm?
Well, in terms of, I think we have indicated in our annual report that the figures were going down up to 2019. And then we started to see some increases.
You mean that the number of outages were actually declining?
Right.
Year on year.
And the frequency, right.
Uh-huh.
So we've seen some improvement. We're concerned about what we have seen as a reversal in recent years. And we we accept, as we indicated, that there would have been some, exacerbation of that issue with the COVID-19 issues. But before that, we had started to see the declines, and that don't fully explain it. So we have been speaking with JPS about conducting better maintenance. We clearly are prepared to approve the kind of capital improvements that they need to put in place to get the system back to reliable quality that we can see improvement year by year. So that's what we have been urging them to do. I must say that I'm optimistic based on the undertakings that the current management have given, that we are going to see the kind of investment, the kind of attention to maintenance issues that I hope will lead to improvement over the next few years. But right now, as we indicated in our report, we are alarmed at what has happened over the last few years.
And let us be very specific, over the last 4 years.
Yes.
Yes? And the increase by our reporting, only just over 3% of the outages were actually planned. Only just over 3%. That means almost 100% were not. 97%.
Yes. Yes, and planned outages have increased as well. So we'd have expected that having planned for these increases, that you would not have seen that kind of increase in unplanned outages.
So what is the fundamental cause of this deterioration in the reliability of the JPS?
Well, we have suggested to them that there's clearly not sufficient attention to maintenance and to vegetation maintenance, for example. There's a lot of interruption, it seems, that is caused by vegetation overgrowth. Now, that's an issue for JPS. It's also an issue for residents, for residences, and also an issue for the municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is JPS needs to insist. One, it needs to carry out its own maintenance in terms of vegetation, but to the extent that the municipal authorities are not doing their side of it, they need to insist on that. To the extent that residents aren't doing their own side of it, they need to insist on that. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that we've been pushing them to do a lot more. There clearly has been issues too of just the technical maintenance, and we, interestingly, in the 2016 decision, we said to JPS that, look, you're going to have problems over the medium term if you don't pay more attention to training and upgrading your staff, the expertise, the technical expertise. Mm-hmm. Just last week, the JPS actually opened up a center of excellence where they are actually doing a lot more in-house training. So late in the day, all of these things, but I'm as I said, I do have some reasons to be optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Hewitt, two of the reasons given to you at the OUR, the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and tropical storms coming close to the island, you've rejected those explanations. I wonder if you could just explain to our listeners exactly what did the COVID-19 pandemic cause that JPS thought it needed to have these outages?
Well, clearly, the argument would have been, and so we have rejected them in totality because we accept, as said, that there would have been some implications. There would have been implication in terms of even at times when the movement of their personnel would have been constrained. So that, you'd expect to see some of that. The COVID-19 had some impact on supply there was always the supply chain issue, which would perhaps, trigger, would show up in their maintenance as well. So we expect that to be a partial explanation. But as I've said, that does not explain why you were already into this trend before COVID-19. So that can't be the full explanation. Again, the matter of the storms, to the extent that these systems they were weak, but to the extent that you are not doing enough vegetation maintenance, those systems will lead to interruption. But you can't blame them because we are in a country where we expect to have weather events. And some of those weather events will be catastrophic. When they are, then we understand. When they are not, we expect the system to stand up reasonably well to them. And if it is failing, then we have to say so.
Can you hold it there first, please? Let's go to the break and come back, Mr. Hewitt.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:46.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature, brought to you by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The #1 choice for label printing is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
It's the Answers Grand Prix Christmas Bonanza Sale. Get up to 50% off when you claim your discount at Answers Gifts and Home and Answers for Children. Answers Grand Prix Christmas Bonanza Sale. Now on till Saturday, December 14.
This holiday season, Access Financial Services is making your dreams come true with Merry Money Moments. Need cash for gifts, dazzling home upgrades, and celebrations that light up the season? We've got you covered with loans up to $3 million. Enjoy low interest rates, fast approvals, cash in your hand in no time, and best of all, no guarantor needed. This Christmas, leave the stress behind and focus on the joy with Merry Money Moments. Apply today at accessfinanceonline.com. Access Financial Services, turning your holiday wishes into reality. Conditions apply.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Cliff Hughes.
We have with us the Director General of the Office of Utilities Regulation, the OUR, Ansard Hewitt. That's because the OUR has criticized the Jamaica Public Service Company for a dramatic decline in its reliability amid escalating outages. And I wondered, Mr. Hewitt, whether you had been in touch at the OUR with business interest, about how these outages may have affected productivity and that kind of a thing in the business sector.
Right. So we have not a formal indication of how that has affected productivity. We have been having what we call the Director General Forum, where we have been going across the island. So we had an event in central Jamaica. We have had, just last week, we actually had one in eastern Jamaica. And prior to that, I think we were out in Montego Bay having discussions. And yes, we have had clear indication from businesses that they're frustrated by these interruptions and are, very concerned about them. So that also, and we have channeled those concerns to JPS. In fact, we insist that JPS as well as NWC and the telecommunications companies are present at these events so that they can, address some of the issues that are being raised.
Finish the thought?
I'm sorry?
No, you were going to finish the thought?
No, I said that I was going to go on to say, of course, that there is a penalty provision in the annual adjustment that we make, so that if the quality of service falls below a particular index, JPS is penalized. That is really cold comfort because, so they were penalized in 2022 to the effect of around 97 million Jamaican dollars. And we suspect that when we have worked out a number for 2023, there may be some kind of a penalty as well. But that's called comfort to the people who, constantly have their service interrupted, their equipment, perhaps having fault because of that, and the productivity losses, as you have indicated. So we're not. Our concern is not to have penalties imposed on JPS. Our concern is to reduce the levels of interruptions and the duration of interruption, and just improve the quality of service.
But just for the record, so in 2022, based on the penalty under the regime that they operate, they were charged $97 million. What was the figure?
$97 million that day.
Jamaican dollars.
Right.
What was the figure for 2021?
Unfortunately, I don't have the 2021 figure because I just looked up I don't think they had a penalty for 2021 because it didn't get to the threshold, because there's a threshold.
And how does that work, that threshold?
Well, what it is that there is what we call an index, a quality of service index. So if the level of outages and the duration of outages are above what we do, there's an average, or there's a forecasted level that we would have, that we'd expect to have. If you go significantly above those, there would be a penalty. And if you fall significantly, because it works both as a penalty and as an incentive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you fall below those levels, then you get an incentive. So in the case of the first time that we have had to invoke the quality of service, I think, would have been in 2021. Well, the system actually came into place in 2019. We would have had a test in 2020, and there has been a penalty in 2021.
Have you ever had to give JPS?
2022, rather.
Have they performed so well that you had to give them an incentive?
Not since the regime has come into place.
You mentioned the issue of vegetation regarding the weather events. What other actions do you think JPS needs to be taking to ensure that the grid is resilient against these kinds of shocks?
Well, I mean, clearly, there is also the issue of just strengthening the grid itself. And again, because we're in constant discussion with JPS. One of the things, and it is no secret that one of the things that came out of burial is that there were areas in which, apart from the vegetation issue, the grid itself, the network itself, had weaknesses. The part of the restoration were post-burial, and the company has assured us that having restored electricity, they are actually going through the country, as it were, almost line by line and pole by pole, to strengthen and harden the grid, so that there is less likelihood of interruption. The engineers talk about checking your conductors and things that gets out of my level of my technical understanding. But there are things that, maintenance things that can be done on the grid, I am told, that will help to assuage these interruptions. And we expect that as the network becomes smarter, the duration of interruption should be less, because you should be able to pinpoint with greater accuracy where an outage has taken place, why it has taken place, and to be able to isolate and deal with it as quickly as possible. So those are the things that we expect to see happening over the next period in order to address
You did
these
say
concerns.
you have imposed a penalty of $97 million for going below the quality index, right, or threshold. Yes? And that was 97 million. Have you collected it? Have you collected it?
No. So the way it works, is that the JPS comes in for annual changes. Whatever happens with regard to their revenue with respect to inflation and Jamaican and U.S. inflation, there's a formula by contract that you have to adjust their revenue to take account of that. What we do is when there is a penalty that is set out against any change in their revenue that is occasioned by inflation, Jamaican inflation, U.S. inflation, and movement in foreign exchange.
So, is it fair to say that JPS customers benefit to the tune of $97 million?
Yes, they would have. In other words, if these things did not happen, the total revenue that they would need to collect from their customers to be in compliance with their contract, with their entitlements under their contract, would have been $97 million more.
Mm-hmm. You also said in your annual report that the frequent and prolonged disruptions in electricity supply across the network is causing significant economic and social fallout. Have you been able to put a cost to quantify that?
No, there is something called that the economists and the engineers come together and sometimes do, that they call the cost of unserved energy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have those numbers in front of me, and I don't know if we have done this specifically in relation to this. So that may be something that I'll need to check or to look at in the future.
And this would have been for year 2023. We're almost at the end of year 2024.
Right. No. This would have been for year 2022. 2023 would be taken account of in the 2024 adjustment. So there is always a 1 year lag.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 2024 adjustment should have taken place already, but this also coincides with the year in which we have to do the 5-year tariff review.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is incorporated, and that application has not yet been submitted. So it is when that application is reviewed and done that that adjustment will take place.
But Mr. Hewitt, where I was going, yes?
Yes.
Have you been satisfied that JPS is taking action based on this alarming observation of yours? You spoke of being optimistic. But what is that optimism based on?
All right. So we have seen, for example, what they have projected in terms of capital investment and what they have sought approval for, say, in 2025 for capital investment. We seek to align those approvals with the problems that we see. So we expect that, given that you're seeing these interruptions, given that these quality of service issues, we would expect the capital investment to be directed towards addressing these activities. And so part of the reason for my optimism is that we are seeking to direct the company to, or we're seeing applications that indicate that they're going to be allocating, or they're allocating capital to this.
Answered Hewitt is the OUR Director General. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
You're both welcome. Thank you very much, too.
And we haven't completed our reporting on the annual report because we haven't touched the other utility providers yet. But JPS, just jumped out.
Okay, Mr. Hughes.
So expect our
our
producer may well call you back.
Grilling?
Yes. I don't know about grilling, but definitely more explanation and answering of questions.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Norige Banton. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, has sharply criticized the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, for a dramatic decline in its reliability amid escalating outages. In its 2023-2024 annual report, the OUR revealed that forced outages have more than doubled in 4 years. The regulator also dismissed JPS's efforts to attribute its worsening reliability to COVID-19 and adverse weather conditions. According to the OUR, the Jamaica Public Service Company reported a staggering total of 136,552 outages in 2023. Only 4,326 of those, or just over 3%, were planned. The OUR highlighted a steady and alarming rise in forced outages over 4 years, surging from 49,243 in December 2019 to 132,226 in 2023. That's an increase of nearly 170%. This escalating crisis, the regulator says, has led to frequent and prolonged disruptions in electricity supply across JPS's network, causing significant economic and social fallout. The OUR insists that JPS must implement practical and effective prevention and mitigation strategies to address the issue. JPS said equipment failure and vegetation encroachment were the primary drivers behind the spike in forced outages. Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says normalcy will return to health facilities by 6 p.m. today. This follows a meeting involving representatives of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, and officials of the Labour Ministry earlier today. He says another meeting will be held tomorrow between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health to discuss outstanding issues.
Island-wide at all public health facilities no later than 6 p.m. today, Monday, December 9th, 2024. There will be a local level meeting at the Ministry of Finance and Public Service tomorrow, Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. to discuss the critical issues in dispute. The parties will return to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for an update and for further conciliation if necessary on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 at 2 p.m.
Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security. President of the JMDA, Dr. Rene Badreau, says the association is looking forward to the solutions that the Ministry of Finance will bring forward.
We have a lot of outstanding issues. We have agreed to respond with the Ministry of Finance with regards to our retroactive payment and our overtime payment. We hope that the Ministry of Finance will have good sense tomorrow to resolve the issue in preparation for a meeting with the Ministry of Labour on Wednesday.
Dr. Rene Badreau, President of the JMDA. On Monday morning, the island's junior doctors staged a stick-out. This is due to their frustration over several aspects of the new wage arrangements with the government. Meanwhile, there were noticeable absences of doctors across the island's health authorities today. There was a 16% turnout of doctors in primary care in the Western Regional Health Authority, while 28% in the Northeast Regional Health Authority. In the Southern Regional Health Authority, a 36% turnout was reported, while Kingston and St. Andrew recorded an 18% turnout. The turnout of doctors in primary care in St. Thomas was at 66%. Some healthcare facilities reported that none of their doctors turned up for duty. And Minister of Finance, Favour Williams, is accusing the JMDA of attempting to renegotiate aspects of its agreement with the government, which have already been settled. In responding to concerns raised by the JMDA over their protracted negotiations under the compensation restructuring, Minister Williams says the doctors are attempting to overturn an already signed contract.
Meaning in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, has a signed contract to the JMDA that was signed on March 16, 2023. And that contract includes base salary and overtime rates for divergent categories of professionals. I have seen documentation at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service that says the ministry has met with the JMDA no fewer than 5 times this year, and it's about the same issue. The JMDA would like a change in how overtime is calculated, but we have a contract that they already signed on to in terms of the calculation of overtime.
President of the JMDA, Dr. Renee Badreau, says the matter resides with the Finance Ministry's proposal to pay all doctors equally regardless of their schedules or workload. She says repeated efforts by the JMDA to come to an amicable solution have been marred by procrastination by the Finance Ministry spanning 20 months. It's understood several doctors across the country are off the job in protest. However, the minister says what the JMDA has requested would be a bad precedent and untenable. She says the ministry cannot simply tear up the contract midstream.
And the period over which it is valid is April 1, 2023 to March 31, 2025. We are honoring that contract that was duly signed. We cannot tear it up midstream. It will set a bad precedent for everybody else that has a contract in government to come and start to renegotiate. Can you imagine what that would look like?
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
Unique Living's new arrivals are here. Revamp your space with sleek, fixed and sliding show panels, shower systems and faucets, stylish vanities, basins and kitchen sinks, closet and storage solutions, hanging aids and more. Available in different finishes and sizes to match your style. Visit them today and transform your space at shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit their website at uniquelivingja.com to shop.
KFC festive feast for the holidays. Full of power with my friends and my family. KFC bucket of the flavor. Something for everybody, time for we celebrate. 12 piece of chicken so delicious. Fries, biscuits, coleslaw, mashed potatoes. And the Pepsi. Crunch the holiday with KFC. It's the festive feast for you and
Crunch the holidays with the KFC festive feast. 12 pieces of delicious chicken, sides, and a 2-liter Pepsi. Try our new KFC dessert biscuits. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Shop and win a mega kitchen from Megamart. Spend $6,000 or more before GCT at any Megamart location and fill out the entry form provided for a chance to win a brand new stove, fridge, and microwave this Christmas from Appliance Traders Limited. Visit us on social media to win monthly prizes courtesy of Lasco, Grace Foods, and Facey Commodity Company Limited. Promotion runs from September 30 to December 6th. Shop now to win a mega kitchen from Megamart. The best value by far. Conditions apply. Must be 18 years or older to enter. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alrix Swaby. Let's dive into the pool as Jamaica's 4-member team of Leanna Wainwright, Sidrell Williams, Nathaniel Thomas and Jessica Calderbank are in Budapest for the 6-day World Short Course Swimming Championships starting on Tuesday. Wainwright will be the first Jamaican in action. She will swim from lane 2 in heat 2 off the women's 100 meters backstroke tomorrow morning at 3:36. She will be trying to go after the 15 to 17 age group record of 1 minute 03.44 seconds. Williams will go next in the men's 50 meter butterfly. Williams will swim from lane 1 in heat 4. He will be looking to go faster than the 24.6467 seconds he posted in 2021. The swimmers will also be looking to see how they rank in the Caribbean at these championships. Now to cricket, as West Indies batsman Shafane Rutherford says the team will use today to rest and recover ahead of the second one-day international against Bangladesh on Tuesday. The Windies lead the three-match series 1-0 following yesterday's 5-wicket win. Rutherford says they hope they'll be able to repeat their good form.
Basically recovery. We will have a meeting the day before the game and just try to come and repeat what we have done today.
Shafane Rutherford. Now at sports time, Mount Pleasant were leading Humble Lion 2-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Ray and Neville Jamaica Premier League at the Anthony Spaulding Complex. Forward Daniel Green scored the go-ahead goal in the 35th minute. Kimani Bailey doubled Mount Pleasant's lead in the 44th minute. Meanwhile, the second match will feature Arnett Gardens against Harbourview starting at 7:45. Clarendon College blanked Titchfield 3-0 in the Issa Mighty Malt Under-16 schoolboy football competition at Carter Park today. In the other results, Monroe beat St. Thomas 4-2 and Stets beat Cornwall College 2-1. Meanwhile, Manchester beat McGrath 2-1 in the Issa Burger King Under-14 competition, while Glenmore stopped Monroe 3-0. Friends for Real went unbeaten to claim the championship title in the Pocket Rocket Foundation six-a-side football competition at the Red Stripe Sports Complex on Sunday. The first-time entrants beat Medley Mixers 1-0 in the final. The day also featured an exciting third playoff where Legends secured a 2-1 victory over Legacy. The championship match capped off a successful tournament that saw 20 teams compete in 36 matches, highlighting the best of community football and sportsmanship. This year's competition, the largest in its history, awarded cash prizes of $300,000, $200,000 and $100,000 to the first, second and third place teams, respectively. Over $5,000 in prizes were presented to individual awards, including top goal scorer, best defender and the most valuable player. The tournament's Peace Through Sports initiative has strengthened bonds within the Waterhouse and surrounding communities, supported by the Hunts Bay Police. Shelley Fraser Price, founder and chairwoman of the Pocket Rocket Foundation, praised the tournament's success and impact.
I'm hoping that from this competition they'll be able to branch out and who knows join a Premier League team, a Division 1 or League 1 team. But I'm hoping that they'll be exposed and they'll want to continue to work on their skills.
Shelley Fraser Price. English Premier League official David Coote has been sacked by referees body, the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, PGMOL, following a thorough investigation into his conduct. Coote was suspended by the PGMOL on November 11, pending a full investigation after a video allegedly showing him making derogatory comments about Liverpool and the club's former manager Jurgen Klopp was circulated on social media. A further investigation was opened 2 days later after the Sun published photos it says were taken during this summer's European Championships, alleging that they appear to show Coote sniffing a white powder through a rolled-up US banknote. The PGMOL said Coote's action made his position untenable. Coote has the right to appeal the decision to terminate his employment. Jamaican licensed clinical and sports psychologist and the founder and CEO of Elite Sports Psychology, Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton, has made history as the first Jamaican to receive a diploma in the treatment of mental health and in elite athletes from the International Olympic Committee. In a graduation ceremony held at the IOC headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, on October 28th, Dr. Hamilton proudly stood among his peers, comprising 42% of successful program completers. He now joins the ranks of 66 graduates from 34 countries since the program's inception in 2021.
It was difficult. Put it this way, it's the hardest program. I would even say it was harder than my PhD. Wow. It was very hard. It's not an easy thing. You can do it. You just buckle down. You can't take it as a joke. You have to do the reading. You have to be prepared, and you have to do well on the exams. The exams were very hard. But I tell you something, you get a greater appreciation for the mental health of elite athletes and how to treat them.
Dr. Hamilton says he's now receiving requests from sporting teams from around the world.
It helps my practice, and I'm also now in the IOC family. So I primarily work with Jamaica and help Jamaica national teams. So being a part of the sports medical team for the Commonwealth Games, for the Olympics, for the FIFA Copa Nations League. But what this diploma affords me is I'm being requested by many different countries now.
Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton. Jamaica's Olympic discus champion Roger Stoner is among the latest group of athletes to take part in the NFL's International Player Pathway. The IPP program identifies global talent and gives athletes the opportunity to develop their American football skills and potentially earn a spot on an NFL roster. In January, 14 athletes will go on a 10-week training camp in Florida featuring the field and classroom sessions before showcasing their skills to NFL scouts before next year's NFL draft. The 25-year-old trained with 2 NFL teams last spring before winning Jamaica's first Olympic gold medal in a throwing event at Paris 2024. Since the IPP program was established in 2017, 41 international players have joined NFL teams, with 23 currently with teams and 6 making it onto a team's active roster. Stoner is also among 8 athletes shortlisted for the National Sportsman Awards. Now to gymnastics, as manager for Team Jamaica, Samantha Bell described Jamaica's hosting of the recent Carifta Gymnastics Championships as success. Bell says everyone played a part in making the inaugural staging of the competition a blockbuster.
It was absolutely a team effort, so not just the organizers, but the coaches, the parents played a huge role as well, and without everybody on board, we definitely wouldn't have been able to pull it off. But we did, and it was fantastic. These girls, I know they're acting a little shy right now, but all of them came out, they gave their very best, and we could not be more proud of how they performed for Team Jamaica.
She says Jamaica's 73-member team made the country proud.
Other countries were definitely challenged. It's hard in gymnastics to have the teams ranked because some countries only bring 2 levels where some others have like 10 different levels. So we're only able to rank each level individually, and Jamaica was in the top 3 for almost every single level. In terms of like a medal tally, Jamaica was second in the medal tally. Trinidad did beat us this time around, but we'll get them back.
Samantha Bell. And finally, in horse racing, as racehorse trainer Jason DaCosta dedicated winning the Moutier Mile to his late father Wayne and owner Carlton Watson. Fun Can't Done, at odds of 17-1, upset a strong field to win the third staging of the Moutier Mile to run away with the $250,000 purse at Caymanas Park on the weekend.
This all couldn't be possible without my dad. You know, he taught me everything. He set the foundation. So I'm just continuing where he left off. And I have to dedicate this win to Carlton Watson. He's been tremendous for the sport, and I'm so happy to get this win for him.
Jason DaCosta. Meanwhile, trainer Ian Passard says Ron Julie Ron's triumph in the Chairman's Plate highlights the quality of the thoroughbred.
I was really concerned because she has run 3 hard races in October and November. And, she just shows how good she is because she came and she had a fantastic performance.
Passard says he has a lot to consider as it relates to the filly's 4-year-old racing career.
But no, I think we'll be racing. I'll discuss with the owner. I think she's a very nice horse. We do have a lot to consider because we have a number of foreign horses that might remain here. They could dominate A-class and open allowance races. So we're going to have to think very carefully. But the plan for now, in my mind, is that we'll take a shot at 4-year-old racing career.
Ian Passard. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited are authorized distributors of international brands ABB, Omron, STC, Festo, and Thomas & Betts. They supply programmable logic controllers, photoelectric and proximity sensors, contactors and soft starters, power supplies, variable frequency drives, and much more. Visit them at 24 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, or shop 32 Overton Plaza, 46 Union Street, Montego Bay, or visit their website, cleasling.net. Cleasing Industrial Supplies for all your industrial automation and control solutions. Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. nationwideradiojm.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. It's a Monday evening, the start of a new week, and we welcome it. But let's backtrack a little. talk about something that happened over the weekend. 4 gunmen are now in police custody after barricading themselves inside a supermarket in their attempt to evade the police in Clarendon on Sunday afternoon. Now, reports are that shortly before 2 p.m., police challenged a group of armed men in Spalding. The men ran into a supermarket in the town centre and they locked themselves inside. One of the injured gunmen, he used his mobile phone to start a live session on the social media platform TikTok. Now, while on the live stream, the gunman and his colleagues pleaded for mercy. One of them claimed that the gunshot wound he sustained was now soaking through his body. Another one claimed that a part of his arm was torn by a bullet fired by one of the law enforcers. The gunmen begged the police not to kill them, with one claiming he had just been accepted to study at a tertiary institution.
Nobody. Please, officer, please. Please, I live with the fun. Please, I live with the fun. Please, please, officer, do your beginning. Please, do. See, and do. Please, officer. Please, officer, please, do. Please. No, please. Father God. No, officer, we're not going, officer, man. No, going, officer, I'm better with a soldier and police, officer. Please, we're good. Accepted for the college. Why is it? Officer, please. I'm married, I mean, officer, please. Officer, we are not fools.
Armed men in Spalding, Clarendon. An AK-47 is among 4 firearms that were seized by the police following the incident. So in public opinion this evening, we're putting it to you. We're asking your reaction to the Spalding gunmen begging for their lives on TikTok. Yeah? I'm going to go to our X platform where Wenty Cent is saying, I'll tell you this. There are people in this world who deal only in the extremes. It's foolish to think that anything but extreme measures will stop them. And he says, make of that what you will. P.S. Ban TikTok. Can't have thugs using lives as a shield from the consequences of their actions. Andre Lawrence is saying the JCF must now gather all information from them and press additional charges. They have critical details on their connections, gun sources, and other offenses. Their families should be held accountable as well. It's time to start tying criminals to their families. Yes, you will start seeing a major difference. And he's saying that we must go all the way with these criminals. Yeah? Bowinkle is questioning, didn't Judge Dredd say rude boys don't cry? It appears these ones do. Yeah? Third term 2025 is saying they wanted the judge, but I wanted the maker. I am sick and tired of these criminal elements. Engpan Neil say the same fate handed down to the law-abiding citizens should be the same dealt to them. Yeah? And we can read between those lines there. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. Your reaction to the Spalding gunmen begging for their lives on TikTok. On our Facebook platform, Janice Cousins is saying that let me see if I can get this right here. Some civil society groups, they will say they were altar boys and should be protected at all cost. Harlington Bartley saying chances are they're just the foot soldiers. Their life should depend on how much information they're willing to give. Wow. Prince Wellington is saying 100 years each to teach them a lesson. Original Boss is questioning. My reaction is why they are still here. Yeah. Just reading these comments, it's such a sad situation that we've become so cold. And I think we were forced it, you know? I think we were and this is me speaking in layman terms. I think we were forced to be this cold against each other, yeah? Because somebody's questioning why they're, the situation, circumstances, criminals have put us in a position where we have to be cold towards them as though they're cold towards us, as how they treat us. Anthony Shakes is saying they're lucky they came in contact with some Christian members of the force. Beverly Barrett said they shouldn't be somewhere. They should be somewhere else tonight. Yeah. Patricia Grant is saying, "May God help these young men." Also, Natalie Winter is sharing similar sentiments, saying, "God have mercy on us." Yeah. Ellarita Mitchell, only bad when them have weapon. Many who used to be criminal, them weak-minded and weak in them character. It takes strength and mind and character to resist the temptation. Yeah. Michelle Bernard is saying their only intention was to rob and kill. Thus, the whole aim of the police should have been to do the same who came to rob. Wow. Lily Roses is saying the police should shoot through the door. Remember, they don't know what them have inside. So for safety, just shoot through the door. Both them are big. Yo, wow. Salome Wall is saying the way these criminals are cold-hearted, if the situation was reversed, there would be no mercy. I believe, though, maybe the police thought they had hostages inside with them, hence their reluctance to shoot. There should be no trial. They should go straight to the judge for sentencing for a 25-year prison term. Yeah? Shins for Life Law is saying, I'm sure they didn't went with those high-powered guns to shoot birds. They went to rob and kill citizens who wouldn't give up the money and to kill police if confronted. They should have met their makers. And she's sending congratulations to the officers. Yeah. Becca Grant is saying them should have sent them back. Wow, should I send them back to their maker? Karine Mackenzie is saying families should be at the morgue. Identifying during the identifying process. And you see how cold we are now at this point in time. Yeah. On our YouTube platform, SH is saying, I'm in my bed and laughing my head off, especially the one that all of a sudden remembered he was accepted in an educational institution. Yeah. Orville Griffith says, only in Jamaica. Oh boy. Michael Wright is saying, I want to know where in Jamaica these guys are from, which part they are from, which community, if his damage cards and they have all over Jamaica, I want to know. Yeah. And Precious Soul is saying, may God have mercy on these young men. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Denzel is saying, nothing sad about the comments. These criminals have no mercy on people. Yeah, Denzel. And I don't know, man. Calvin said they should be sentenced to 50 years. Yeah? Killian said, I can give you many stories of O'Connor boy ball when we corner them. One told me once he would turn Christian during that operation in... wow. In Cassia Park, Ostrich Park, Lacovia in 2008. Killian Henry sound like you have a whole heap of story. Yeah? Greetings to you, Andrea Henry, saying that they don't deserve the respect. They are to be called criminals. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in some more. On our Instagram platform, if you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. The question we're putting to you, your reaction to the Spalding gunmen begging for their lives on TikTok. Nicole Whitaker is saying them meeting the judge and not them maker. Dominus Downer is saying, how many victims beg for their lives and they continue to murder relentlessly? Life in prison for all of them involved. Yeah, and Venice Brown is saying they're very lucky. Buri is saying them lucky them service did our work. Not a laughing matter. But I can see how one would laugh after that. Yeah? Them lucky them service did our work. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Simon is saying, or Simone rather, they went live so they could live. No mercy for them. Carib is saying that he's waiting to see how the legal system treat them on online confession. Maybe the video evidence is not enough, similar to the Uptown incident. Yeah. Willie Ryan Wilson saying the TikTok save the court from wasting time on certain things. They expose themselves very well. The system should now make an example of them. Indeed. An example indeed. Let me see if I can get in a few more on our YouTube platform. Let me see. Yamhead. Yamhead saying them better sleep on the same side. Them lucky. But for how long? Marlene P is saying no bail for them. Kiliana said that him did a set to, how them service managed for work. Wow. Yeah. Marlene P, man them cry like babies. Yeah. It's a sad situation and we hope to see a just outcome in this matter. Already we can say that a JDF member has been arrested. Nationwide News understands that a JDF member has been arrested in connection with the same incident. Guys, thank you so much for participating. That's all the time we have for Public Opinion. Do stay tuned. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:36.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Roby Ann Williams. TikTok has asked a court for an emergency injunction to prevent it becoming unavailable in the U.S. next month. The U.S. government passed a law demanding the app's sale or ban because of what it says are its links to the Chinese state. Links TikTok. Well, that should be the Chinese state, linking TikTok and its parent company ByteDance has denied. The social media company lost its appeal against the law in a decision handed down on Friday and said afterwards it would appeal to the Supreme Court. TikTok and ByteDance have now submitted a legal request to temporarily block the law to give the Supreme Court more time to consider the matter. The Department of Justice, DOJ, has called for the request to be dismissed, saying its underlying arguments have already been definitively rejected. TikTok and ByteDance say an injunction is also justified because Donald Trump is about to replace Joe Biden as president. Trump has previously indicated he would overturn the law. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 53 cents to buy $1 US, 200 Jamaican dollars and 26 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 111 Jamaican dollars and 73 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Roby Ann Williams. Good evening.
For a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paints 100% Acrylic Ultima Plus paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
Are you ready for real rewards this Christmas? Reel in big cash prizes and big appliances with Rainforest Real Rewards on now at supermarkets island-wide. Enter to win cash prize of $500,000 or a stove or fridge. Any 2 Rainforest products, including shrimp, and enter online or WhatsApp between November 1 and December 15. Each receipt is an entry. Enter as many times as you want. This Christmas, win real rewards. Only with Rainforest. Authorized by the BGLC. Terms and conditions apply.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening to you. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Ricardo Brooks, and I'll be joined shortly by Cliff Hughes. Now, operations at the island's health facilities should have returned to normal about 43 minutes ago following today's stage sick out by the junior doctors. This follows a meeting involving representatives of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, the JMDA, and officials of the Labour Ministry. The Labour Minister, Pernell Charles Jr., he says another meeting will be held tomorrow between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health to discuss the outstanding issues.
Normalcy will be restored island-wide at all public health facilities no later than 6 p.m. today, Monday, December 9th, 2024. There will be a local level meeting at the Ministry of Finance and Public Service tomorrow, Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. to discuss the critical issues in dispute. The parties will return to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for an update and for further conciliation if necessary on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 at 2 p.m.
That's Pernell Charles Jr., the Minister of Labour and Social Security. Now, the president of the JMDA, Dr. Rene Badro, says the association is looking forward to the solutions that the Ministry of Finance will bring forward.
We have a lot of outstanding issues. We have agreed to respond with the Ministry of Finance with regards to our retroactive payment and our overtime payment. We hope that the Ministry of Finance will have good sense tomorrow to resolve the issue in preparation for a meeting with the Ministry of Labour on Wednesday.
That's Dr. Rene Badro, president of the JMDA. Meanwhile, there were noticeable absences of doctors from the public health system today. There was a 16% turnout in primary care at the Western Regional Health Authority, while 28% of the rostered doctors showed in the Northeast Regional Health Authority. In the Southern Regional Health Authority, a turnout of 36% of the doctors was reported, while in Kingston and St. Andrew, the turnout was 18%.
And some healthcare facilities reported that none of the doctors scheduled to work turned up for duty. We have with us the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, but we're going to ask you, Minister, just to hold the line. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more.
Payroll made simple and secure. Get automated with BizPay, an integrated payroll and HR solution powered by MC Systems. Contact them today. The time by MC Systems is
15 minutes to 7.
Here at Azan Super Center, you can fill your Christmas list.
It's a Christmas to remember. Get ready for Azan Super Center's Super Sale. From now until Christmas, experience the sale event of the season with incredible savings and super deals. Come get your decorations, lights, gifts, and all the best items for your Christmas party. Why ship when you can shop at Azan Super Center? Our sale is on, so why wait for freight?
So this Christmas, make it Azan Super Center for sure.
It's a lifestyle.
I only have Hanes. Make yourself comfortable in authentic Hanes underwear. Nothing beats the never out of style ultra soft 100% premium cotton Hanes underwear. Hanes Comfort Fit V, crew neck and A shirts, absorbent Hanes socks, Comfort Flex Hanes boxer briefs for men, and stylish itch-free Hanes underwear for women and kids. Make yourself comfortable this holiday season, inside, out, and underneath with Hanes underwear for that cool all-day comfort everyone deserves.
I only have Hanes for you.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's the nation's business, and we're assessing what happened today that sick out among the island's junior doctors. We have with us the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. Good evening, Dr. Tufton.
Hi, good evening. Good evening to your listeners.
Good evening, Dr. Tufton.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have you had a report yet as to whether normalcy has been returned to the health facilities?
No. I mean, 6 o'clock is less than an hour away. I'm actually in my constituency. But
actually, 6 o'clock was about nearly an hour ago.
Yeah, an hour ago. Sorry, not away, but
yeah.
We were given the guarantees that this was the case.
Signal problem over there in West Central. Dr. Tufton? No, he's breaking up, so we're going to try to reconnect. He says he's in his constituency there, I imagine. But the reports we got, Cliff, was that, as you read earlier, a lot of the health authorities saw significant declines in terms of the amount of doctors turning up for work. That meeting today at 10 o'clock, I think it got underway between the JMDA, the Ministry of Finance, and the IDT. I think it was. Labour was also involved.
I don't think it was the IDT. It was the Conciliation Division of the Ministry of Labour.
Oh, my recollection was that Favour Williams said it was.
Favour Williams said IDT, but based on what we heard from the Labour Minister, yes, it was a meeting of the Conciliation Division of the Ministry of Labour
and Social Security.
And
they managed to broker this arrangement that the doctors would return to work at 6 this evening. Dr. Tufton? Dr. Tufton? No. Yes. Go again.
You hear me now?
A little better. Yes, you were saying that you were in your constituency, but no. All right. So, rural constituency, connectivity problems.
It's not too rural, you know.
Parts of it.
West Central.
Parts of it.
St. Catherine. Yeah, parts of it. But if we could go back to what the Labour and Social Security Minister said out of our news at 5 this afternoon.
The clip is also in the script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was a meeting involving beg your pardon. Beg your pardon. It was a meeting not of the IDT, but representatives of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association and the Labour Ministry, who met today to broker the back to work agreement, and they should have been back at work just under an hour ago at 6 this evening. Another meeting is set for tomorrow between the Ministry of Finance officials and the Ministry of Health officials and the doctors to discuss their outstanding issues as they relate to overtime payment. Yeah.
Favour Williams indicating that essentially what this turns on is, as she sees it, a request or a demand from the JMDA that the contract be renegotiated midstream. I think she told you that it was slated to end in 2025, having been signed in 2023.
Right.
And they are demanding that it be renegotiated. The minister indicating that couldn't be accommodated because she thinks that would send the wrong signal and potentially be the genesis for chaos in terms of how the government negotiates and budgets for salaries and compensation.
You say he's better now? Dr. Tufton?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you hearing us, Dr. Tufton?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Good, and we are hearing you better. So we are asking you at 6:51, what is the report you're getting in terms of the response to the back to work formula that was agreed by the Ministry of Labour today? At the Ministry of Labour today.
No adverse report. I have not gotten a complete report, but we got the reassurance that normalcy would have resumed at 6. So I'm hopeful that is the case across the country.
And with the turnout that you saw today across the country, I know you went into emergency mode. Were operations affected at any facilities that you've heard of?
Yes, of course. We have, I think, somewhere in the region about 1,800 doctors under this category of the JMDA that would have had an impact on our system across the board. My understanding is that the primary healthcare system was more affected than the hospitals, largely because the staff complement tends to be smaller. And if you have 1 or 2 doctors and they're here, or even just a small percentage here, then it would impact our ability to see the many patients that would come in at that level. But having said that, I want to thank the senior doctors, others who held the fort. There had to be cancellations of, the elective procedure. But the A&Es were open, and while we advised persons to stay away if they had a choice, and there was no choice, then persons would come in and would have helped. So that, all intents and purposes, we were prepared to deal with the situation despite the inconveniences.
And Dr. Tufton, what is at the heart of this dispute? I spoke with Minister Favour Williams today, and she said they have a contract that is not due to end until April next year, and the government is in a position where it can't really break, or not break, but to renegotiate a critical element of the present contract that would be setting a dangerous precedent for all contracts.
So let me just say, and this is not an attempt at disassociating, but the Ministry of Finance have been the ones negotiating the compensation agreement under Minister Clark, of course, with our new Minister Favour Williams.
Oh dear.
The line is going again.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. It's just got better. Go ahead.
While while there is some consultation, it's led by the Ministry of Finance. Now, the general principle of the compensation review in this instance for the doctors, for these doctors in particular, was that they would have, before compensation review, earned a very small base salary, and for the most part would have made up that salary 2 or 3 times more than the base, based on overtime or sessions. What compensation review did was to adjust the salary to that base plus the typical sessions and overtime. So if a doctor were earning $3 million, they may be earning 7 or 8 now, which is what they would have earned, but they had to earn many more hours to that point. So we have made that the basic pay. So there has been a substantial increase for a doctor to now work less. They would have had to earn what they would earn if they worked overtime. So that was settled, and that, to my mind, is a good deal for the doctors because they are now working less hours for more pay and a lot more pay. The issue in question now becomes the overtime, if they still have to do overtime, and the other traveling and so on that would attract an additional sum. And that's where I think the agreement has stalled and a discussion is taking place. The ministry has proposed, as I understand it, a figure for that overtime rate, and the doctors and their association are counter-proposing a different figure, and hence the disagreement. So, it's going to take a little while, but I'm sure we can get to an agreement. And so the meeting tomorrow hopefully will begin to try and hammer that out.
And in the meantime, the word to the public, yes?
Well, we are an essential service, and I am happy that the doctors' protest was short-lived because those inconveniences can spiral into impacting people's lives. It could be a matter of life and death. And indeed, essential services tend not to resort to industrial action. If you notice, it was called a sick out, so the doctors mysteriously became sick today, which, if you are sick, that is quite understandable why you can't work. But I'm hoping that we can maintain normality, which was my initial call, and some patience is exercised while we try to work through the issues in keeping with the spirit of an essential service and the importance of that to Jamaican people.
Yeah. Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness.
Now, before you go, how is the constituency doing? You're in the constituency?
I am there, yes. It's going on. I mean, there's a lot of work out here to be done in the field all across Jamaica. The roads, as you know, is a big pain point. But the government is trying to address that. And I am trying to identify with the solution and to support the team on the ground, hence my more higher levels of frequency on the ground.
I recall having a caller a couple of weeks ago, more than a couple of weeks ago, bitterly disappointed. She lived in Golden Acres or Green Acres. Green Acres is Green Acres.
Yes, Green Acres. Yes.
Green Acres. And she said, boy, water is a very, very scarce commodity there. And she wasn't hearing from you or the councillor going to disappear and missing in action.
No. Green Acres has water, but there is a constant issue of downtime with the pump, which is an NWC issue. And that has been the real challenge. In fact, the reservoir and the pumping station is right at Green Acres, or certainly next door to it. So whenever there is an issue, they are impacted. And then we have to resort to the main utility company. But I meet with the Citizens Association from time to time, and it's a good community. They have some issues with roads because the development was never handed over to the parish council, which is a real issue of how developments are supposed to be dealt with, and unfortunately too many are not. So we have had to find mechanisms to deal with their internal infrastructure issues. But We get along well. I mean, you'll always find disappointments periodically, but I'm comfortable that we have a good relationship.
Oh, and you're standing in the seat?
I will be crossing the finish line before everybody else. That much I can assure you when that time comes.
Oh, well, that is a seat that you should be winning comfortably.
It's not support is never absolute. And
Never.
I fully appreciate those who think otherwise. And we always keep trying to do better. So that's always a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Dr. Tufton. All the best.
All the best, Brian.
That is a seat that the Labour Party must win.
And will win.
Oh.
Based on the historical trends.
Based on they should.
Yes.
They should. Yes. Enid Bennett, old seat. Dr. Ken Baugh, old seat. Yeah. Usually safe JLP territory. Yeah.
Are you hearing otherwise?
About what?
About the safety of the seat.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Time for the break.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
GK1 now introduces third-party motor insurance from GK General Insurance. Download and log into the GK1 app, then select one of 3 affordable third-party options. The time by GK General Insurance is
7:01.
New World Home Improvement and Detail Cleaning offers high-quality detail cleaning and home improvement services. They cater to residential and commercial properties. They clean from the ceiling to the floor. They clean sofas, mattresses, carpets, and chairs. They deep clean and restore all floors. They repair and restore roofing. They do tiling, general paintings, drywall works, and other carpentry services to include property renovation. Call them 876-384-9313. Follow them at New World Detail Cleaning and Home Improvement.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Passion for his advent. Christmas has largely become a commercial and secular spectacle, characterized by shopping, giving gifts, decorations, parties, and a festive mood. Lost is the true meaning of Christmas, which is relegated to a single day, Christmas Sunday, when more persons than usual find a church to worship. One of the reasons for the trend away from the spiritual toward the secular observance of Christmas, I believe to be the decline or cessation of the observance of Advent. Many of today's Christians, especially those of the Protestant faith, couldn't explain the meaning of the word or its practices. The word Advent comes from the old Latin word adventum, meaning preparation, expectation, anticipation of the arrival, usually of an important person. At the risk of oversimplifying, Advent is observed as a time of expectant waiting and preparation, preceding celebration of the physical nativity or birth of Christ at Christmas, which most Christians take to be December 25th. The practice of Advent is not found in Scripture. The date of its origin is disputed among theologians, but is widely thought to have occurred in the latter part of the 5th century. The period of observance of Advent starts 4 Sundays before Christmas Sunday, always between 27th November and December 3rd, ending on Christmas Eve, December 24th. Traditionally, Christians observe Advent as a time of penitence, fasting, and self-denial, a time of readings, teachings, and devotions, as well as the traditional erecting of a Christmas tree, setting up of decorations, etc. Importantly, the liturgical observance of Advent on each of the 4 Sundays preceding Christmas Sunday focuses on 4 words steeped in Christian theology and tradition: love, peace, joy, hope. Alas, much of that has fallen off the Christian calendar. Most churches seem to be content with the commercialization of Christmas. The surest sign that Christmas is coming is when business places begin to put up pretty lights and decorations and open longer hours, and when vendors begin to hawk their wares at bargain prices. The driving motivation for many persons during this season is presents under a Christmas tree, not the presence of Christ in one's heart. I doubt the traditions of Christmas and what we do leading up to it will ever change from what they are today. A time for merrymaking and other secular or even pagan observances. But consider this: there is a second Advent. That period of time is now, when we should be making preparation for the eschatological second coming of Christ. When Christ returns, it will not be as a babe in a manger wrapped in swaddling clothes. It will be as judge to mete out to each his or her just reward. The life we are living in preparation for Christ's return should preoccupy the thoughts of every human as we are swept up in the helter-skelter of carnal Christmas traditions. Let's reflect on and cultivate a passion for Christ's advent. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
It's 8 minutes after 7. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Brooks, before we get to Damascus, Syria,
yes,
historic developments there. But next door in Haiti, another mass event of tragic proportions.
A massacre.
We are now hearing that up to about 200 elderly people were slaughtered because one of the country's notorious gang leaders lost his son. And the death of the son is now being attributed to witchcraft.
Yes.
Which it is said in Haiti by custom and their tradition, carried out mainly by elderly Haitians. And according to the reporting I'm seeing, this gang leader was told by another elderly seer, obia worker, witchcraft worker, that is the elderly people walk up behind his son, and he slaughtered almost 200 of them. Oh, in Cité Soleil? Why, it is just tragedy after tragedy for Haiti.
A completely failed state.
If ever there was one.
Completely failed. And sometimes it's hard to fathom that a country with the proximity to other stable and functioning democracy, with that proximity to them, is in such chaos.
Yeah.
It is difficult to fathom. Yeah.
It's
with
really
with no end in sight. I think
That
that's
is
the
it.
part that troubles me. That there's just no end in sight.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has been a
Bedeviled.
story from I came into journalism nearly 40 years ago. Haiti has been a story, a continuing long tragedy. Yeah.
And the students of history would know that that tragedy goes back to its very foundation.
Yeah.
As a country.
At the turn of the 19th century, 1804. Yeah. And part of the problem, you see, that the history has been so wretched. Yeah. And its colonial power, France, did Haiti a wicked thing. They were absolutely wicked. Yeah.
And then that problem was compounded by the alienation of countries from countries like the United States and the United Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Haitian society has never been able to get it together. Yeah. And part of the enduring legacy of that history is it has not been able to build, yeah, a middle class, a class that has been conscious of the need to build the nation state. Yeah, it has been a selfish set of elites, yeah, who behave no better than the colonial masters, the wicked colonial rulers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know my takeaway? You often hear that freedom as a concept isn't free. I think Haiti is the textbook example of that.
Yeah.
That the price that that country has paid for fighting for freedom they deserved as a people, the price has been steep. It has been incredibly high. Yeah.
Right. Well, in the Middle East, the Assad dynasty is over after 50 years. The signs were coming for the last 10, 14 days that they were in trouble. The Assad regime was in trouble. Yeah. But the speed with which it collapsed is just amazing. But I've been around long enough to see there's a pattern. We saw it against Mubarak in 2011 with the Arab Spring. We saw it with Gaddafi. And the images are uncannily similar.
But we should also say that what has happened in Syria, what has finally happened, it has its roots in the Arab Spring that you just spoke about. It started really 13 years ago, the uprising across the Middle East. Assad managed to hold on to certainly the capital and other parts of the country, aided by Russia, China, Iran.
Yeah. Not the Chinese, more so Russia
and Iran, right.
And the Hezbollah.
Right. But those countries are now involved in their own conflicts. And it seems to me the moment they looked away the rebels who had already captured significant parts of the country were under rebel control. They used the opportunity to take the capital, and Assad had to flee.
Yeah, and I think that is reflective of the rot that had set in terms of the Syrian military establishment that had propped up Assad over the years. But also, don't underestimate, Netanyahu's brutal crackdown following the October 7 attacks of Hamas is a significant part in this, played a significant part in bringing down Assad,
In that how he weakened Hezbollah?
He weakened Hezbollah. That played such a crucial role at the turn of the uprising against him in 2011. Yeah, where Hezbollah actually supplied boots on the ground.
Right.
He didn't have that. And also the fact that the Iranians are very gun shy now because they are no match for the Israelis. And Netanyahu and the Israelis have demonstrated to them, don't. And they are reluctant to really step up and to go help Assad.
Especially at a time when the center of power in the United States is shifting, and they know that any kind of resistance or reticence that they could hope for from the U.S. administration is going to evaporate come January 20. Donald Trump is not going to restrain Benjamin Netanyahu in any way.
Not at all.
So when you talk about being gun shy, and they know too that if they should push the foreign policy hawks that Donald Trump will shortly surround himself with, the consequences could be dire.
Yeah, and the other player, Russia, Putin, he is busy trying to win the war against Ukraine. So he didn't have the spare, to go help Bashar. The most he did was to offer him asylum in Moscow.
With his family. Yeah.
But I'm saying when you look at the television pictures,
the tearing down of the statue, the rebels marching into the capital, the storming of the presidential palace.
Yes.
Eerily familiar. You're right. You're right. A 50-year rule brought to a sudden end, listeners. The opposition forces took control of the capital in a stunning advance that saw them seizing several key cities in just a matter of days. And Assad, as we said to you, fleeing the country by airplane, bringing an end to combined rule himself and his father, 53 years of his family's authoritarian rule over Syria.
His departure leaves a country in ruins and millions of Syrians wondering what's next. On Monday, people in Syria described their tentative hope and fears as they look towards an uncertain future. We have more in this report from the BBC.
We start with those monumental events in Syria. The rebel coalition that toppled the brutal regime of President Bashar al-Assad and his father, a dynasty that had controlled the country for more than 50 years, says it's working to form a transitional government. Islamist fighters took the capital Damascus yesterday after sweeping through the country in less than a fortnight. People poured into the main square, chanting freedom after the rebels seized control. Well, let me take you now to the live scene in Damascus, where it is just gone 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can see there that there are dozens of people once again on the streets and gathering. They've been cheering and clapping, and we've seen them taking pictures, all after the news that the Assad regime is no more. Now, Syrian civil defence workers have deployed to the ousted Assad regime's notorious Sudnaya prison to investigate reports that people there are trapped in cells that are hidden underground. Now, the United Nations Security Council is to hold an emergency meeting later today to discuss the fall of the regime. Now, I want to show you some live pictures from the border. Now, this is the border between Syria and Lebanon, and there you can see that there are long lines of cars and other vehicles. This because many thousands of Syrians who fled during President Assad's rule have been returning both from neighbouring Lebanon and Jordan. Nearly 1.5 million of Lebanon's 5 million population are Syrian refugees. So they trying to make the way in from Lebanon to Syria. We've also seen similar scenes on the Turkey-Syria border. Now let me take you to Russia, where we have seen the Syrian opposition flag raised on the Syrian embassy there. Now, according to Russian state media, the deposed Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, and his family have been granted asylum in Russia. But in the last hour, the Kremlin declined to confirm those reports. What a spokesman did say was, what happened has surprised the whole world, and in this case, we are no exception. Well, the United States has led international reaction to the fall of the Assad government, with President Biden describing it as a fundamental act of justice after decades of repression, but also a moment of risk and uncertainty. Well, we'll have the latest from Syria shortly. But first, this report from our Middle East correspondent, Hugo Bechega.
Tears of happiness. Gunshots to celebrate the moment many in Syria waited for decades to see. They are free of the Assad regime, and their country is at a turning point. It was an astonishing campaign by rebels. They advanced quickly. Last week, they took Aleppo, on the weekend, Homs, and in a matter of hours, they were in Damascus. In some places, they faced no resistance. The army was unable and apparently unwilling to stop them. This is the end of a brutal regime that didn't tolerate dissent. The Assads crushed any kind of opposition. They killed, arrested, and tortured their critics. When the rebels arrived in the capital, they went straight to a well-known prison to set the inmates free. This is their leader, Abu Muhammad al-Julani, head of the Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. He took a victory tour of Damascus, visiting the historic Umayyad Mosque. My colleague Feraz Kilani was there for BBC Arabic.
A historic moment in every sense of the word. Ahmad al-Shara' Abu Muhammad al-Julani here for the first time in the great Umayyad Mosque.
The rebel commander has been playing down past links to Al-Qaeda, saying he wants to build a Syria for all its people. The president fled as the rebels closed in. A statue of his father was pulled down, and his residence in Damascus was stripped bare by looters. People carried what they could without anyone to stop them. For Assad himself, Russian state media says he and his family are now in Moscow and that they will be granted asylum on humanitarian grounds. His fall is a major setback for his allies, Russia and Iran, but has been welcomed in the West.
We will engage with all Syrian groups, including within the process led by the United Nations, to establish a transition away from the Assad regime. We've taken note of statements by the leaders of these rebel groups in recent days, and they're saying the right things now. But as they take on greater responsibility, we will assess not just their words, but their actions.
Syrians are hoping for peace, but they fear chaos and even more violence. This is a fractured country. Different groups with different goals control different areas. Many are celebrating now, but the road ahead is far from clear. Hugo Bechega, BBC News, on the Turkish-Syrian border.
Well, it's a matter of wait and see now. The so-called main rebel group leader, Julani from HTS, he has promised that it's going to be a government for all Syrians, including minorities, more inclusive. And those pronouncements are being met with some amount of wariness, skepticism, because, you know, they have their roots in Al-Qaeda. yeah, that he has been trying to distance themselves from. But you hope for the people of Syria that they'll get a break after 50 years of this kind of authoritarian, repressive government that they've had to endure. Hundreds, millions of them are overseas.
And it will be important to fill that vacuum swiftly, because history tells us that where the vacuum persists for too long, then the chaos sets in.
Yeah.
In the United States, rapper Jay-Z has hit back at a lawsuit which, get this listeners, alleges that he, along with Sean Diddy Combs, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at a party in 2000. The anonymous accuser alleges that she was assaulted at a house party after the MTV Video Music Awards in New York, and that an unnamed female celebrity was in the room at the time. Now, in a statement, Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, dismissed the legal action as a blackmail attempt.
Mr. Combs, who is in jail awaiting trial after being charged in September with sex trafficking and other offences, denied the latest allegation or accusation. The lawsuit was originally filed in October. It was refiled on Sunday to list Mr. Carter as a defendant. CBS News has more.
A civil lawsuit alleges rapper Jay-Z sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl back in 2000. The lawsuit was originally filed against Sean Diddy Combs back in October, then refiled on Sunday to add Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party. The artists have denied those accusations. Now, in a statement through his company, Rock Nation, Jay-Z responded to the lawsuit and the lawyer representing the plaintiff, saying, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud that you are," his words, in a very public fashion. "So no, I will not give you one red penny," end quote. Now, the lawyer, Busby, did not immediately respond for comment on this, but has refuted Carter's accusations of blackmail on social media. Meanwhile, Sean P. Diddy Combs is still in custody in New York, awaiting his trial on federal sex trafficking charges. He tried to secure bail, but was denied several times. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now to go over this lawsuit. Welcome, Jessica. A lot to talk about here. What can you tell us about the timing of Jay-Z's allegations, since he wasn't named in that initial lawsuit filing?
That's right. Well, we don't know for sure, but in hearing Jay-Z's response, I think one possible scenario is that the attorneys came to him and said, "We'd like X amount of money, and if you don't give it, then we are going to name you in a civil suit." Now, again, we're reading tea leaves here, but it would be reasonable to think that there was some discussions, let's say, behind the scenes. And sometimes what happens is that a celebrity feels like the accusations alone are so harmful that it's worth it for them to say, okay, here's this pot of money. Sometimes they feel like saying, giving over the money and having that potentially be reported will look like they're admitting guilt. Here, what we have is Jay-Z being extremely unequivocal in saying, not me, not it, no way, no how. And in fact, I think we might see a situation where Jay-Z and his attorneys might go after the attorney who filed the case, potentially asking for sanctions, potentially saying that this is a frivolous suit and or that there was no good faith basis to add Jay-Z to this complaint.
Now, given that this is a civil lawsuit, Jessica, what are your thoughts on the plaintiff still going under the name Jane Doe in this lawsuit? If she wants this to continue forward, will we eventually learn her name?
It depends, but there are lots of public policy reasons why when it comes to a suit like this, when it comes to allegations of sexual assault that were perpetrated against a minor, that we say that you can remain anonymous. Now, again, I wish I could give you a specific answer, but in part it depends on how far this case goes, whether or not we might hear testimony. But I think it is important for people to know that the law does provide protection many times for people filing these types of suits, particularly, again, against very powerful celebrities, because regardless of what you think of this specific case, you can understand there are reasons why we would want to protect people's privacy when it comes to these types of cases.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned this earlier in your first answer, but just to remind our viewers, Jay-Z filed a lawsuit against the attorney representing the plaintiff. What does his lawsuit allege?
Essentially that this is a frivolous case, that it amounts to extortion, and this is the most forceful way that you can respond to this type of allegation, meaning not just Jay-Z isn't just saying, I am not liable. It's not guilt, it's liability because it's a civil suit. But he's saying, I am the victim of a shakedown and I want to vindicate my rights. And what you can see in these situations is sometimes an attorney could be held in contempt for filing a case or for adding a particular party. Sometimes these are pretty extraordinary circumstances. You can see an attorney that's actually reported to the state bar where they work. But this is part of, I think, the lawsuit, obviously, that Jay-Z filed. It's a lawsuit in and of itself, but it's also the most forceful response you can possibly give.
Any chance that this could turn into a criminal case, given that it happened in 2000?
I don't think so, based on the statute of limitations. The suit was filed in, obviously, it's a civil case in federal court under a New York law that provides a so-called look back, meaning that the statute of limitations, there's an exception, and it opens up for specific types of allegations for a specific window of time. We saw this in the case that E. Jean Carroll brought against President Trump. There was a look back provision in one of those cases. Similar thing here.
All right, CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Thanks so much, Jessica.
Sexual assault and rape, thanks to CBS, are horrific crimes. There's no question about that. But I have to admit that I wonder about the justice of a claim being brought 24 years later.
Yes.
And how one navigates that kind of thing. Especially when you do it from behind the anonymous moniker of Jane Doe. Yeah. I worry about the justice in that. While accepting and understanding that rape and sexual assault are horrific crimes that must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But I don't know.
Well, Jay-Z's response, as you heard in that CBS report, is very telling and unusual. What he has done is to say he has not only denied, but he's also taking legal action to sue the lawyer, saying that he acted maliciously and frivolously. And this is unusual, and would strengthen those who would want to believe him that this is a shakedown. Because that happens too,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Jay-Z being one half of the music power couple. He's married to Beyonce Knowles, who has she very carefully, very carefully avoids scandal. Yeah, her name has largely been untarnished by any kind of dust up or scandal. So we'll see.
Yeah. Time for the break. After the break, your calls.
Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The time by the 1JN Passport app is
27 minutes to 8.
If it's important to you,
it's important to us.
Let Nationwide 90 FM be your first choice for your live broadcast.
We'll drive traffic to your company, increase your publicity, and work with your budget.
Reach your target audience with high-quality audio both on air and online.
Nationwide 90 FM should be the driving force to execute your live broadcast.
Contact our sales team today at 630-1210 or 630-1216.
Nationwide 90 FM live broadcasts covering your events and reaching your target audience.
We're on the final stretch now. We're taking your calls. The numbers, you know them, 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Omalo, you're first. Good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Cliff.
Good evening, Omalo.
Yeah, Cliff, looking what is going on in Jamaica with this crime situation, this awful crime situation, yeah? You know what I think is the biggest driver to this crime situation here and the murder and all of these things, and also driving this lack of economic growth? It is extortion. Extortion is the thing that is driving everything in this crime situation, and also causing the high cost of living based on the security measures, and all those things are adding in. You know, a lot of these entertainers, a lot of the people that they have around them, it's for security reason to protect them from the extortionists them in them community where them come from, And then for this reason, they build a gang around them. It's the same thing with these lot of scammers, to build a buffer between them and the extortionists, which is the gang member, and they create a gang of their own to protect them from these gangs, And it goes on and it goes on. The taxi men are being extorted. Business people privately are being extorted. And who are not being extorted are having high security, putting in high security to not being extorted. And then all these things are driving up costs and slowing economic growth. We have to address it. We have to find a way how to deal with this extortion thing that is going on within the country. It's now affecting even these little TikTokers. They soon have to start putting gangs around them to protect them for the money that they are making, that the extortion. I go tell them, say, them place them in, and them need to send and the money come. Arrest them, I go. This
you
thing
mean,
is
you have information to
Cliff, I
to
know
that
the street,
effect?
Cliff. I know the street.
So share the
I know the street.
Yeah, so share that with me. What is it?
But I'm telling you exactly what is going on.
What is going on?
The extortion is going on, and it is making people align themselves by buying guns and gaining protection from maybe people, from those who are running the community. So they have their gangs to protect them from those who are going to extort them. That is what is going on. It is a fact. It is what is going on in Jamaica. The extortion is the biggest thing in driving crime. It is the incentive why people want to be in gang. People don't just want to be in gang. There's a reward to being in gang. You control the extortion. We fight for the neighborhood for us to extort who inside this part of the neighborhood. So what we need to do, because people are scared in Jamaica to go and tell the police things, scared they die. So what the police need to do, and thinking about it, we need to send a team of police overseas to America to train with the FBI as to how they use their undercover measures to take down the gangs and for years in America. How they use the surveillance and the telecommunication thing to take down their gangs.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do that. We have to address. I'm telling you, Cliff, this is not something where I just sit down and I understand the whole makeup and the whole dynamics on the ground in Jamaica.
Omalo.
And I'm telling you, the extortion is the problem.
Omalo.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
What do I do? I'm in entertainment and real estate.
Okay.
But I love knowledge. So I do 3-4 hours on YouTube most of the time studying political science.
Yeah, no, I was going to suggest that you probably should have a future in public policy.
I love it. I go to every university on YouTube and do this stuff. I do it. I do it. I love it. But I'm telling you, Cliff, we have to address extortion. What's his name? Warren Buffett. Right, and before he died, say, show me the incentive, and I'll tell you all about what is going on. The incentive is the money, and what is driving the incentive is the extortion.
All right, Omalo, thanks for the call. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Robbie, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Ricardo and Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, Robbie.
Yes, sir. You have the man on the big show, you know. Turn the show in a big show, moving from the big show to the bigger show, you know.
Yes.
All right, why I agree with the gentleman a while ago. Why I think we need to, the amount of money that we have spent on crime in Jamaica and the police force. Why we think I don't know why the next government spend too much money on the security force. I think we're getting somewhere, but too slow. You know, I think we need to invest some more money on the camera system in Jamaica so that we can catch some of these criminals. Let's say we catch them yesterday and them all day for yesterday and them cry high water. We need to just go pick them up, man. We can spend less money to monitor the camera more to pay a policeman, you know.
Yes.
Me think so. Me don't know. Me just think so within myself. I don't know it works. But I think if we put in the cameras, I think I'll advise the Prime Minister if I was the person to get a chance to spend even $5 billion on cameras this year. And the tourists we'll have in Kingston, a Montego Bay alone that cover back that money. Because we would even need the strategy for tourism for people come here. Them that just take plane come to Jamaica. If we have a safe environment for them.
You know what I think too, Robbie?
Yeah.
I've heard various justifications for the needs, right?
Yeah.
And I don't recall national security being one of the stronger justifications offered. So we hear things like ease of doing business, etc., etc., etc. But my thing is, if we don't know that when Damian Cunningham says he's Damian Cunningham, we can actually verify that he's Damian Cunningham.
Yeah.
I think that sets back the crime fight. And if we don't know exactly how many people are within our borders, how they came in here, what they're doing, that kind of a thing, I absolutely think the state needs to be able to take account and tally of everybody who is here. So the camera is one way, I agree. You keep eyes on, on the road and where people are and what they're doing. But I think the needs as an identifier for national security purposes would also be.
Yeah, man. I want to give somebody else a chance. So I have a last thing that I want to say to you. I have a case with a gentleman, and I want to just ask the Minister of Justice, when you do mediation, if the person you sign off on the agreement, the judge say go and do a mediation, and you go and you sign it off, and then the person come back when you're ready to pay him the money, say, boy, that money is too small, and him don't sign to say he will take that amount. And if the law don't bound for you to sign off on it, and will you just go back to the judge and the judge say, all right? Because I supposed to go back to the judge and I didn't get the chance to go back the day. They say I must come back my court day. And the person changes his mind. So what? It wouldn't make any sense to go to
So you want to know if somebody can renege on the commitment they gave in mediation?
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it out for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen out for it. Go and big up the big show here, boss.
All right, Robbie.
Tell me, Cliff Hughes, big him up, youngster against oldster.
630-937-124. 618-8255. Who do we have next? Dean, good evening.
Yes, good evening, my boy. Listen.
Good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, man, what's up?
Something I drag my brains of one. Let's see if I can reason out with you. You remember when we have the measurement of gas change from gallon to liter?
If I remember that, no.
You remember?
No, I don't. Cliff might remember.
All right. May I ask you something? 3.8 liters make a gallon. See?
Uh-huh.
All right. We go through this already in Jamaica. You know, man change gallon to liter.
Yes.
Did he change the price?
No.
If 3.8 liters make a gallon, how a man get to chance to change gallon to liter and charge the same price?
No, sir.
Eh?
Get the math right.
It happened in Jamaica, my brother.
No.
Research it. When
No.
the measurement did change from gallon
No.
to liter.
First of all, when did that happen? When did the measurement
price
change?
did change.
No, that happened at the turn of the 80s.
Oh.
No. 90s.
90s? Okay.
90s.
Okay. But
if a man, let me ask you something, please. If you come to my place,
No,
every
but
morning,
hold on. Let me
buy milk,
deal with the first point you make.
Uh-huh.
Yes. The price of petroleum, before the exchange, before the change, was per barrel and what you pay at the pump per gallon. Yes?
Yeah.
That same price per gallon was used to make the conversion to per liter.
No, but my boss. Check the equivalent now.
But that's where you make provisions. You make provisions for the
3.8 or 4. Most people round it off at 4 then.
4 what?
Right?
Gallons?
4
for liter. Yes.
To the gallon.
So therefore,
from
it's a simple.
Sorry,
it's
you just now.
No,
you
sir.
come to my place every morning, come buy milk by the gallon. One morning you come, Mr. Pierce, and stop sell it by the gallon. I said by the liter now. So I put a liter of milk inside of your pan. And Mr. Pierce said, give me the same gallon money. Would you give me?
Sir, it is a straight mathematical calculation, sir, based on how many liters make a gallon. And it's not very difficult to calculate. And if you make anybody trick you, you deserve to be tricked.
Is that you?
Yes.
Yeah, man. This one I really oppose me, believe me. This one I really oppose me. It is simple for me to explain to you, but I don't understand how you don't understand what I am saying.
Because what you're saying, I don't understand it because it is a straight, simple mathematical formula you use. So, if 3.8 liters make a gallon, yes?
Yeah.
To make the conversion, you have to factor in that for every gallon or for every liter is 3. I'm trying to work it out quickly in my head. Yeah, so let us round it off to 4. 4 liters make a gallon. Yes? So every liter would be 1/4 times the price per gallon. And that will work out at about 25% of the price for the gallon. You get me? If 4 liters make a gallon, yes, and the gallon is going for $10,
right?
Yeah, therefore 1 liter is going to be 1/4 times 10.
No, but Mr. Hughes, if 4 liters make the gallon,
yes,
I use $10 per gallon.
Yes,
that would work out to say $2.50
about $2.50 per liter. Yes,
right. So you change my gallon now down to liter and charge me the same $10.
Well, if they do that, they're robbing you.
Then Mr. Hughes, I don't know whether it cannot eat. It happening in Jamaica here.
And you sit down and act out. Oh, you know that is happening.
Then my boss, the question is this. When the price, you have research, when the price of gas, the measurement of gas did change in Jamaica, did the price change? On top of that, try remember, every morning you wake up, you get a gas raise. Remember that, Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, but
that's why we are paying them price today, my boss.
Yeah, but the price of gas changed, not because I'm trying to thief you.
That was the Prime Minister once, before Prime Minister do that,
No, sir.
You see, I'm going to show you, manipulation is a serious thing, because if people don't do it, it's easier. You know that. Eh? if people don't do it. Because government have a way to make people don't do it, because if them just change something for you, remember you have to have it in your fingers and rub to find out a while. So you never learn it at school.
All right.
Look at metric. You think that every construction worker can go to the site here today? When the boss hand him that piece of paper with metric on it, can he do the job?
All right, Dean. Giving somebody else a chance. Appreciate the call.
Enjoy.
Yeah, man. Richie, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Ricardo. Good evening, Cliff.
Good evening.
I listened to Dr. Robbie a while ago, Mr. Ricardo, and I believe we are on the same wavelength. You see the unit ID?
The who?
It will be one of the greatest crime fighting tools.
Oh, the ID, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, man. It will be one of the greatest fight, because listen to me. You can't run and can't, You only will try from because you're going to show up everybody. What you do, whatever, everything about it. I'm in support of you, Ricardo.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced that the watered down version that we actually have now can meet that objective. I think in its original iteration it could have worked, but that went.
What do you mean about the watered down one?
I mean, as I understand it, this really is just this one. My understanding is a glorified TRN.
That glorified TRN?
Yes. The one before, if you recall, was supposed to be a sort of all-encompassing
mandatory
unique number that you had to be registered. Everybody has to have
a unique
one
number, but it's a mandatory element that the court found objectionable.
And they're using the TRN. It's the TRN number they're using now as the NIDS.
No.
That's my understanding. That will be the TRN.
No.
That becomes the NIDS.
No.
Double check
that.
Double check that. I think it's a TRN number. So if you already have a TRN, the TRN becomes the NIDS.
The NIDS? Oh.
That's my understanding, but you can double check that. But Cliff is right. The mandatory nature would have made you couldn't opt out. So you had to be counted.
Because everything will be on the one level, because it will be a driver's license, a passport, and everything together. So go.
Right.
But I'm with you, Ricardo. That, I believe, would be the greatest crime fighting tool. It has to bring down crime very, very, very fast. It's coming down, but I think it help us quicker. But you know something, Ricardo? You see that incident with those criminals up by Waiver this morning? A man said it to me from England, how fast he get it so quick, And I listened to the news. But you see those boys, me or taxi man say the police were there as some Christian. You understand? But those boys smart, They wasn't finding shots. They start, they make them know that I'm there on social media because everybody knows. If that, then I kill them, But them boys, they're lucky. They are very lucky. You know what I say they're lucky? Them go with them gun to kill people. And them a bad luck beg them to kill them.
Yeah.
You know what I say, boy, gunshot.
Soaking name.
Yeah?
He said that's soaking name.
This man said it to Mike, but I don't know how he gets looking for that.
But boy, may I tell you, we've come a far way. We've come a far way as a country, and crime fighting and the professionalism of the security forces.
Yes.
Because I am not too young to remember missing man pan camera, policeman, do unspeakable things. Missing that already. So the fact that this live stream saved them in this instance tells me we've come a far way.
And the fact
government is doing very well in terms
and the
of
police
crime fighting,
and the police did not know that they were live streaming.
Right. And they didn't go in there guns blaring and
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've come a far way.
This government is doing well though, because we pick it up from 380 gangs to 170. So if they continue bringing on the crime, as the crimes are said, if they continue bringing on the gangs, the crime must have to go down, and they're doing it. It's a plus for us.
Yeah. Thanks for the call.
Pick up yourself, Brad. Yes, Dave.
One of our YouTubers, Marsha, is properly reminding me, and she's quite right, that it's not a TRN number, but rather just a TRN, because TRN stands for tax registration number. And I appreciate that, Marsha. You're absolutely correct. It's like saying the automated banking, the ABM machine. Yes? I appreciate that, Marsha. Damien and Dana are laughing at me. Marsha? Oh, another Marsha. Marsha, good evening.
Good evening. It's not the same Marsha, though.
Okay, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I have two concerns.
Uh-huh.
Good evening, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening,
Good
Marsha.
evening, Ricardo. One is for the Minister of Health, well, who happens to be my MP. I searched through Sparks, and I didn't see any roads for East Central St. Catherine. So I'm wondering what is happening with St.
West Central. West Central is your
you're correct.
concern. Yes.
So, you say you went on the Spark website?
Yes, I did. I searched it 3 times.
Uh-huh. And you didn't see any identified roads to be repaired, rehabilitated under Sparks?
No, I didn't.
All right.
You can search it.
I'm doing that as we speak. But go on talk to Cliff. Let me.
Yes. So that's one of my concerns. My other concern is really the doctors striking and asking for overtime pay. Now, I believe that they should receive overtime pay, but a concern that I have, how is it measured? How do you say that Dr. A was on duty at the time that is recorded that she's on duty? Can we be 100% certain that that information for overtime pay is honest?
Oh, I think it's a book they use, If memory serves me correctly, I think they sign into a book.
And the doctor
When they clock on?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I recall it being a contentious issue, actually, when the matter of an electronic signing was brought up. And I recall Mindy Fitzhenley saying, sort of not quite explaining why they were opposed to that, but I recall the JMDA had objections to the electronic
swiping.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be less susceptible to manipulation.
One can assume. That's my recollection of the issue. Because it did come up. It did come up, Marsha. It really did come up.
Well, I think it's something that must be implemented, not just for doctors, but for every, public worker, for overtime to be claimed, because sometimes they are present but invisible, if you understand what I'm saying. They're not there.
Yeah, no, that's true, because the consultants as well. It also came up that there were consultants, and this particular one came up when, I don't remember the incident at Spanish Town Hospital, where a mother gave birth in a bathing pan, I think. And she said the nurses on the ward, I think the baby died, if my memory serves me correctly. The nurses on the ward refused to engage because they said that's something for a doctor to do. And there was no doctor there. And at the time, the report was to explain why there was no doctor on duty. We never got the contents of the report. But I recall the whispers being there were doctors assigned to be there,
but they weren't there.
They weren't there. As to where they were, we never got the contents of the report. I think it was you and I who interviewed the CEO of the hospital, actually. Yes, so you're right, Marsha.
Have you found the roads for
no,
West
I'm
Central?
looking and I have not. I think I've passed St. Catherine now and I'm not seeing it. So Marsha may be right. I'm still going
It's
through.
in alphabetical order,
Yes.
so it's the West Central.
Yeah, I'm at the end now. West Rural St. Andrew is the last one.
And all roads are there. My MP circulated. We know which roads are under the spark.
Yeah, I also
thank
see
you,
my
MP Juliet Cuthbert Flynn.
And I should also thank my MP, Juliet Holness, because I see East Rural St. Andrew. But you're right, Marsha, I'm not seeing, let me go back. I'm not seeing
Central
West Central
St.
Catherine at all.
Dr. Tufton, where are the roads that you're going to fix under
So here
spark?
we go, St. Catherine. Southeast St. Catherine is there. All right, so Southeast St. Catherine. Then you have South Central St. Catherine. Let's see. You have South Central, no.
Yeah, into St. Andrew now.
I'm into St. Andrew. No, I'm not seeing it, Marsha. You're quite right. And then we go on to Clarendon.
He's at Dr. Tufton.
Then we go to St. Elizabeth, St. Anne, Manchester.
So Dr. Tufton, one of your constituents, is calling us to say, listen, and we're looking on the site, we're not seeing the roads, the Spark site.
Here's
website.
Northeast St. Catherine.
Yes, that is
North
Terencia
Central
Morrison.
North Central, St. Catherine.
That is Natalie Nita Headley.
Let me go back again. We're back into Kingston. Eastern St. Catherine.
That's Denise Daly.
East Central St. Catherine.
East Central is who?
That's Orlando Terrelong, I believe.
Yes. We're not seniors,
no.
Dr. Tufton, and your constituent. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Marshall. I need St. John's Road on it.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that St. John's Road different from the one that's in whatchamacallit there? What's his name? Wheatley, or is it Denise Daly? Is that St. John's Road? No, that would be Spanish Town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that would be a different one.
It is Spanish Town-ish. Well, it's not Spanish Town-ish.
Yeah, I think I just saw St. John's Road actually.
But for which
But it wasn't for West Central.
So, Dr. Tufton, if you listen, you could call us and tell us if your Spark programs, roads have been identified and why it's not on the website.
Yeah, I'm back at page 1, and it takes me back to Clarendon.
This is a good tool for constituents,
with the
to
project
track.
percentage. Yeah, it tells you that the implementation stage of it
Mhm.
and how far along they are. So most of them are at about 15%, and most are in planning and consultation stage.
Right.
But no, Marsha, I'm not seeing West Central.
So what do you want to say to your MP, Marsha, before we go?
I really just need St. John's Road fixed, not just for me as a motorist, but also for the people who walk. When the kids are going to school and it rains, they're in flooded waters and it's dangerous for them. Sometimes you can't tell the road from the gully.
Yeah.
And people are still walking. So it's very dangerous, not just for motorists, but for pedestrians who must use the road.
And this is not the first you're calling about it, right, Marsha? I recall you calling before.
Yeah, man, I have.
Yeah, I recall.
All right, Marsha. Thank you for
All right.
calling, and keep on calling and pointing these things out. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right. That's where we're going to leave it. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Damon Cunningham. Thanks to our callers, our YouTubers, and our WhatsAppers. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Make money now with